Hello and welcome to Systemize Your Success. I'm Dr. Steve Day. Today I want to talk about one of the most overlooked yet critical roles in creating a business that is truly sustainable and scalable and ultimately saleable. So if you're trying to build a business to give you more freedom or to live with more presence, purpose and peace, this episode is an absolute must listen to. And do stick around to the end because I'm going to walk through the entire position agreement for this role and give specifics about what you should be looking for in the type of person, but also what their key core responsibilities or key results areas should be and the kind of metrics that you can actually use to evaluate their performance in this role. Finding the right person for this role is the first step, but then they need a process for creating the systems in your business. And I'll cover that in a future episode. So please do hit subscribe to make sure you don't miss that. So let's jump in and have a look what this role is all about and why it could be the missing link to you creating a business that truly serves you in the way you desire it to. So the question is this: how do entrepreneurs like us who don't have an endless supply of cash, how do we leverage the best apps, virtual assistants, automation tools and systems to scale our businesses, increase our profits and have more time to do what we love to do each day? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name's Dr. Steve Day and this is Systemize Your Success. Okay, so the concept of this role, the Autopilot Architect as we call it, has been in development with us for almost a decade. Really, ever since I started coaching people on how to systemize their business, how to get other people to do work consistently. This idea of having somebody else create the systems for you has been an absolute foundational piece of all of our work. Because the reality is business owners don't have time to spend documenting everything, creating fancy process maps and putting it into task management software and creating operation manuals or SOPs. They need to be the one pushing this change in the business, about creating a culture of continual improvement, about being a true champion of systems within your business, but you can't be the person who's actually implementing it into this business. And this role, which we now call the Autopilot Architect, used to be called our systems implementer role. That is, it was the person who was basically getting the stuff out of people's heads and actually documenting what was happening and then actually getting that done. However, what I realized was that it's far greater than that. Actually, this person's role is absolutely critical to the business truly running on autopilot. When I say autopilot, I don't just mean automation. By autopilot, I mean the perfect balance between systems that manage people and automations and also AI. That combination and actually how that all fits together, making sure everything is integrated and connected and visible. That is what makes this role so important and so powerful. And if you have someone in your business already who is involved in the systems creation, then this podcast might be truly inspirational to listen to, so they understand what the potential of this role is and how important this role can become. You see, because the person who is documenting what's happening in the business is in an absolutely unique position to start seeing opportunities to connect the dots and increase efficiency and productivity by actually seeing links between stuff which was never been visible before, because the only other person that may actually know anything about how all these things are connected is the business owner. And the business owner, as we all know, is often a very busy person. Now, I'm a bit of an exception to this rule because that is the work that I do. So the work that I do in terms of operational efficiency, of systemization, that is what I actually teach clients to do. So I spend a lot of my time in the operational side of the business. That's not to say that I want to be the one who's doing all the systems implementation. So I still want to have an autopilot architect in my business, even though that is the thing that I am most passionate about, because I've got to be careful that I don't get dragged in, end up not doing the important leadership stuff I should be doing as a business owner because I'm actually stuck in the weeds trying to figure out how to make all this stuff really efficient and get it documented perfectly. I'm also not a great completer finisher. So I'm brilliant at coming up with ideas and fixing big problems, and I love chatting to clients and going deep on stuff and creating really sophisticated systems to solve like the most complex problems in my business and do it all on automation using AI. I love doing all that. But once I've cracked the nut, so to speak, once I've actually nailed the hardest parts of that sort of about 70, maybe even 80% of actually there, I'm terrible at getting that last 20% done. And so I need somebody who is working with me, who can actually take over a lot of the burden of creation at the same time and speed up this process so it's not all me doing everything, But also when I get bored and move on to the next thing and want the next problem to solve, I can leave this Autopilot Architect to actually mop up the mess that I might have created, make sure everything's polished and actually used and implemented in the business. So even for somebody like me who is passionate and pretty good at creating systems, I still need someone like this in my business. So wherever you lie in this spectrum of being a true visionary who literally is just a big picture thinking, who hates the detail, hates the operations, that he or she is the obvious person who needs a Autopilot Architect, or someone like me who's the other end of the scale who could spend their entire life in systems and operations and absolutely love it, but I still need it. So wherever you lie in that spectrum, I would recommend this is one of the most critical roles you can have. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to explain exactly what this position is all about. And at the end, I'm also going to give you a link so you can download this position agreement I've created and make it your own and use it when you either hire or elevate one of your existing team members to become your Autopilot Architect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually go through the position agreement for this role. The meta learning in here is how we actually create our position agreements, actually how we structure them. And so you hopefully there's some learning in there too that you can adapt and take what you will from as well. So first of all, with all our position agreements, we put the role at the top, who this reports to, the type of employment it is, and the contract review cycle. That's just pretty standard stuff. I then always like to include the vision for our company. This is my founding vision. This is a personal vision for me, which I actually bring to all the work I do, whether it's inside a business or out. For me, that is that I believe in a world where every human honors their true self, lives with presence, purpose, and peace, and amplifies our collective potential, rippling impact through families, communities, and future generations. That's the work that I live by, and I want everybody who works with me to believe in that to some extent, to at least to actually be inspired by it. And so I include it on every position agreement. We then have our company's mission statement. So for us, this again, it's a high-level mission statement driven not on specific results or revenue, but it's about what the change I want to see in the world, what the change our business is trying to actually produce in the work that we do. So for us, we are on a mission to elevate human potential and nurture lives of presence, purpose, and peace by enabling conscious, authentic leadership to create meaningful impact, freedom, and flow for everyone we serve. So everything I think about with regards to the work that I do, it's all about how am I helping people to live with more presence, purpose, and peace, and also to create more impact, more freedom, and more flow in their business. And so I want everyone to know that when they come and work for us, and so therefore it goes on our job postings as well as on our position agreements. Next, I list my values, which are we are open and real, we believe in systems, we reflect our client success, we are a team, and we develop ourselves. Again, fundamental to every single person that works with me. If those values don't resonate, then I don't want to work with them, and they probably don't want to work with me. So super important. The next is the purpose of this role. Here, I want to sell the idea of what this role means to the business and potentially to the wider world as well. I'll just read through what the purpose statement is for the Autopilot Architect. So as the Autopilot Architect, you're responsible for capturing, optimizing, and integrating the systems and technology that create operational flow without requiring the business owner or key individuals to pilot every action. Your role creates clarity, structure, and intelligent workflow design that enables the organization to run on autopilot to produce consistent and yet predictable outcomes. By mapping processes, codifying best practices, and leveraging both AI and automation tools, you transform complex processes into efficient, reliable, and scalable systems. Your work is instrumental to the growth of the business and the well-being of our team. The systems you create provide clarity, they reduce stress, and eliminate procrastination, leading to higher productivity and lower rates of burnout. The Autopilot Architect champions systems thinking, responsible AI and technology adoption, and continuous improvement, empowering team members to work with greater purpose, presence, and peace while aligning operations to the company's mission to elevate human potential and create meaningful impact, freedom, and flow. So when I'm writing position agreements, I want to be thinking about how the role fits into the bigger picture, fits into the vision and mission. And this role, the Autopilot Architect, is absolutely critical to every other part of the business. And as we're a company who helps other businesses to train Autopilot Architects, it's pretty obvious that this is a very important role in what I do and what I believe in. So the next section on the position agreement is our key result areas and performance metrics. Here I like to list down the key results areas first, the key outcome of that area, the lead indicators, things that are done on a regular basis that lead to the lag indicators, as in the results of that work. And having them explicit on the position agreement really sets expectations. So it's just totally clear from both sides what we expect from them and then what they can expect from us. The first key result area is operational flow. And the key outcome of that area is that we have improved operational flow with reduced key person dependency. I mean, that's like the absolute fundamentals of this role. The lead indicators, or the inputs to actually get towards that goal, are the number of systems gaps identified and scoped, the frequency of operational flow reviews, and the completion of improvement initiatives. The lag indicators, or the results of this work, are reduced bottlenecks, increased workflow predictability, fewer tasks requiring owner escalation. So again, removing the owner as the pilot of the business, that is what this is all about. The next key result area is systems capture. So the key outcome is simple, reliable, accurate, and accessible systems. The lead indicators, the inputs of this would be operational manuals or workflows created or updated, documentation audits completed. The lag indicators, the results of that would be increased documentation adoption, reduced errors and rework, and higher internal consistency. So the next key result area is team adoption, because the best systems in the world will be worthless if they're not actually used by anybody. So the key outcome for this is the team consistently uses the documented systems and tools. The lead indicators are that training is being delivered to the team, that we're logging any support issues and also logging any feedback loops as well. Therefore, we are seeing the effectiveness of the adoption. So are people actually engaging with the things that we're creating? The results of this, or the lag indicators, will be higher systems adoption, fewer process-related clarifications, and improved consistency. And the final key result area is technological enhancement. So here, the key outcome is that technology-supported workflows improve efficiency and maintainability. The lead indicators are that automation AI workflows are trialed or improved, and that we're reviewing any updates of our tech stack as well. So keeping on top of product releases, for example, of new features that come out, of new potential apps that we could use without getting obviously bogged down and changing too often. Lastly, the lag indicators, or the results of our technology enhancement, are a reduction in manual workload, increased automation reliability, and improved operational efficiency. Hopefully that's all pretty obvious. So now we're getting into the key responsibilities and the recurring tasks of this role. So I break down those recurring tasks into the same 4 areas. So we've got the operational flow, the systems capture, the team adoption, and technology enhancement. So the first, operational flow, we want to identify operational bottlenecks, prioritize systems capture, improvements in alignment and business goals. This is the fundamental stuff that's done at the beginning with the business owner. We call it the core revenue flow, which is about identifying the critical systems and actually generating revenue in the business. And there's some supporting systems around there as well. So doing that work with the business owner to actually get a very clear idea on what the current status quo is of the systems in the business, where are the holes, where are there problems and bottlenecks, and where do we need to apply systems thinking immediately and what can wait. So prioritizing all of that. That is like an absolute fundamental. Again, within operational flow, the second part is orchestrating operational flow that reduces key person dependency. Again, we're always going back to what is the result here. It's getting rid of the dependency on individuals, because individuals will leave, they will go on holiday, whatever happens to them, they won't be around forever. And that is the mindset we've got to have as business owners. Because I know from firsthand what it's like when someone walks out the door and you haven't got everything documented. It's absolute nightmare. You're basically back to you as the business owner jumping in to fill in the holes, train the new people, create the missing documentation, whatever it is. So the faster we can get this done, this baseline done, and get everything captured, that is the absolute key. And that's why this role is so critical. And it's not just about capturing the now, it's about the improvements as well. So the role initially is about protecting the business, and then it evolves into enhancing and optimizing the business. Okay, so next we've got the champions a system thinking culture and ensures workflows remain relevant, usable, and connected. Again, this is just fundamental like principles of a good autopilot architect. Next, we have continuously assessing systems effectiveness and recommend strategic, procedural, and technological improvements. That's going back to our technology enhancement stuff. Next, we've got about creation of systems themselves. So capturing and documenting business processes into clear, simple process maps and workflows, facilitating the capture of best practices for how procedures are performed and converting those into standard SOPs, operation manuals, and systems documentation. Next, They're going to be implementing the captured systems in our project management platform to create visible, accessible, collaborative spaces to enhance operational flow, accountability, and adherence to best practices. This for me is like the fundamental problem with a lot of like process consulting type work that I've tried to make something like super practical and usable. This is what transformed things for me. And this is taking that conceptual design of having a flow chart or a bunch of SOPs or whatever it is, and having them hidden away or on the wall or whatever, and then putting them like front of mind, that when people are actually in the task management app doing the work, that's where they get to see like how the work is done, so that everything that they need to remember about the task is presented to them at the place where they're actually doing the work. And that is, for me, been an absolute game changer in terms of getting people to actually use and adhere to and then maintain and improve going forward the actual operation manuals and all the workflows and things that we create alongside this. They're responsible for maintaining an organized, accessible systems repository and ensure documentation remains up to date. Hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so the next set of tasks and responsibilities are around technology and automation and AI enablement. And this is one of those key areas. Like, AI is moving so fast, it's almost impossible to keep up with the new stuff that's coming out. And if you're not actually aware of all the different interconnecting systems within the business, it's hard to see where the opportunities are for getting massive productivity or efficiency gains by implementing AI at different points. So jumping back in to the position agreement, here the responsibility for identifying opportunities to enhance workflows using automation and AI, everything we just talked about, prototyping, testing and implementing reliable automation and AI supported processes, so actually doing it, monitoring updates to the company's tech stack and propose efficiency improvements, so like product updates as I just mentioned, new AI tools that are coming out, etc. And then ensuring all technologically enabled workflows are fully documented and designed for understanding, oversight, and optimization by others. This for me is absolutely fundamental, because in the past we've got people to build some cool stuff and then they leave for whatever reason and then no one knows how it works. So I spent a lot of time creating policies about how to effectively and quickly document automations and now AI using really standardized like process maps, etc., and about some really clear guidance on how to set up automations, to document them, to add links, etc., to various things, to make sure they are totally understandable by anybody looking at them, regardless if that person had any involvement in building it in the first place. Because the chances are 1 year from now, 10 years from now, whatever it is, the person who ends up setting up so much of this stuff just disappears. I mean, back 25 years ago when I used to do programming, this is why documenting or commenting on code is absolutely fundamental, because there are so many ways you can build this stuff. It's not like there's just a cookie cutter approach and you can just basically say, yeah, here's the automation for your business, go for it. Like, you will have nuances that you change, or the way you tag things, or the automations you want to connect together, whatever it is. There'll be so many things that are non-standard and linear that if they're not documented and commented on, then no one will really know how it all connects together. And so that is one of the key upgrades for this position, is about this understanding that whether it be AI, automation, or both, or just general processes, documentation is absolutely king. And so making sure there is a standard way of doing that that makes sense to lay people or to someone new coming in is fundamental. Cool. So the last section is all about team training, support, and implementation. This again is a key area. If you create stuff that no one uses, what's the point in creating it? Like, we've got to have team adoption. So the person that's in this role has to be confident enough to actually start training people how to use the stuff that they are building. And so for this, we've got training and support team members in adopting, documenting systems and tools, facilitate workshops, demonstrations, and onboarding sessions, gather team feedback, refine systems for clarity, simplicity, and usability, and promote a culture of continual improvement and shared ownership of best operational practices. So that's basically all the responsibilities, the recurring tasks that we expect this person to be accountable for. Then we just have a section which is about who are they accountable to and the reporting frequencies. And the last section I want to go through is the core competencies and skills, because when we're hiring for this role, to find somebody who just basically looks at that and thinks, hey, I can do all that, that's great, is at this point in history probably not going to be that frequent. That's because a lot of the stuff we're talking about here is relatively new to many people. It's unlikely they're going to be looking for a job as an Autopilot Architect because I made that word up. So when you're putting this job out there, we need to be attracting the type of person who is trainable to be able to do this role. And for that, we need to understand what the core competencies and skills are that we need to be looking for. And then we can design like job postings to attract those specific types of people. So for example, we need someone who has a systems thinking mindset and operational curiosity, someone who has a natural interest in like how things work and then communicating and training that back. They need to be like super logical to be able to do this type of role. There's a big communication element of it. So we can't have someone who just completely hates talking to humans and just wants to sit in the back room and code all day. We need someone who is a good communicator, but is also absolutely diligent and logical. They have to be able to master the art of process mapping. That is like the fundamental part of this role. So if that's not something that excites them, they're the wrong person for this. So bring that front and foremost to the conversations you have with any new recruits. Do you like process mapping? Do you like building flowcharts? Do you even understand what they are? Because if someone's never done it before, they may love it. And I do have lots of examples of virtual assistants who've trained up to be brilliant Autopilot architects, and they'd never done anything like this before. But there's also been examples where people have just pushed back and resistance. And so we need to know, are they the type of person that think they would like this? The person also needs to be good at knowledge capture. So this is something they should have already done. This isn't something new. We want someone who's already been involved in projects where they are documenting how work is done. This is really common in every business. And so we want someone to at least understand that, because then they can tell us if they loved it or not. If they didn't love it, they're not the right person for the role. Next, technology, automation, and AI enthusiasm. You want someone who's absolutely loving this stuff. What are they watching at the weekends? What does their YouTube subscriptions list look like? Who are they following? What are they doing with their spare time? Like, how much time do they spend outside of work learning and adopting or playing with technology, AI, whatever it is? If you get somebody who's truly passionate, they will love the job you put them into. And especially in this particular role, it's got so much potential for growth into being like the AI advocate in the company and building the future of the company because of their unique positioning as the Autopilot Architect throughout the whole business. The right person will absolutely love this role. They do, as I said before, have to be a brilliant communicator. So yeah, tech's all good, yeah, logic's all good, but if they can't communicate, if they can't confidently interview people, if they can't push back, if they can't like actually get on people to get the knowledge out of people, or to actually sit with them and actually go through an interview to capture a process, like what happens next and next and next, if they haven't got the confidence to do that with training, then again, it's going to fail. So you need to be sure this person absolutely understands what the role is before they get involved. And then you actually really assess, have they got that level of English language, but also confidence as well. You don't want someone who's arrogant and horrible, but you need someone who's actually understands the importance of this role and is willing to push a bit, even if it's against yourself. And then we've got project ownership, initiative, and continuous improvement. This isn't a do this, tick the boxes, I'll pay you a paycheck for it. This is, here's some idea about what we need to create here. Go away, figure it out with some training about how to join all the dots together, create something awesome, and then come back and show me what you've done and tell me what needs to improve going forward. This is someone who is intelligent, who has that desire to take on responsibility and to see things through to the end. Those are the key characteristics needed for this role to be successful. That's it really. Today I wanted to cover really the core aspects of the Autopilot Architect, because this could be the difference between you creating a business that is truly systemized, that is predictable, scalable, sustainable, that delivers on expectations every single time. If that's the business you're trying to create, then this role might be the missing piece of the puzzle. And if you do create a systemized business, your consistency goes up, your productivity goes up, your efficiency goes up, the errors go down, the stress levels come down, the burnout goes down, people's love of their job goes up because they have more freedom, because the systems give them the process and allows them to be free to do the thinking. It allows them to develop and improve on existing processes, not just whack away and each time they do it might be slightly different and get a different result. Once you've got baselines, you can start improving and measuring those improvements and rewarding people for systems improvement initiatives. Once you've got the ability to have everything in one place. So when I was talking about the implementation of the systems in the task management software, that increases collaboration, allows people to actually communicate more effectively, allows others to see visibility about what's going on, who needs help, about people being able to collaborate effectively remotely from anywhere in the world. These kind of things are how we increase peace for everybody in your business, including yourself. Peace because we're reducing stress, because we reduce the unpredictability of things. We make things calmer by actually giving a plan, and that allows people the freedom to then actually do their best work. It gives people more presence for you, for everyone in the business, because it removes a lot of the stuff that sits in your head. It creates headspace because you're not having to think and remember about how you do stuff. You're not worrying about forgetting to do something because everything is documented. That allows you to be more present in the moment, whether it be sitting and talking with a client, not worrying about the thing you're meant to be doing like 20 minutes from now or a day from now, or maybe it's just about the presence of when you're actually doing your work and giving it your full attention. Being able to clear your headspace and having a place to put things, or just knowing that everything you need to do is documented and it'll be there when you need it, frees up your brain to be able to actually focus on the things that matter in that moment. And lastly, to live with more purpose. Living with purpose because you're doing highest value work you possibly can. When you have your task documented, when we automate the repetitive, mundane parts of the business, when we get AI to help with stuff that is just dragging you down, it allows you to elevate to do the highest value work you can, and therefore you live with more purpose because you're making more impact. This goes for you as a business owner in just the same way it goes for every single member of your team. When we have a systemized business, when all of the mundane, the repetitive stuff is done by the systems, it allows the employees to elevate and to do their highest value work and live with more purpose. So if you are looking to create a business that creates more peace, more purpose, and more presence in the world for you, your team, and for those people you actually interact with, then maybe the Autopilot Architect is the key role, the missing piece that will allow you to do that. So that's it. If you'd like to contact me and discuss anything within this episode, please just send me an email at steve@systems&outsourcing.com. or head over to systemsandoutsourcing.com. And do remember to hit subscribe so you miss out further episodes, especially when we're talking about building a system for creating systems and bringing all the best, most thinking around how we're using AI to massively speed up that process. That episode is coming very shortly. All I've got left to say is thank you very much for dedicating the time today to learn about the Autopilot Architect role. Head over to sys.academy/guide to get the position agreement so you can use that in your business. Do remember to hit subscribe, please. And please do leave us a review or share this with someone you know. And then they could also benefit from listening to this episode as well. Thank you very much indeed. Have a great day.